As one famous boxing commentator once put it, let's get ready to rumble. In the green, Brazil get this second men's semi-final at the World Championships here in Rome underway. Up against the Volley Vikings, the Olympic champions in white. Sørum and Mol, desperate for World Championship gold, but they've got one hell of a fight on their hands to make the final in this second semi. George then with the serve for Brazil. Instantly they target Christian Sørum, and instantly that man at the net, Andre, gets in with his first monster block.
And there is no better way to start out a match than by getting your hands in the face of one of the best side-out players in the world in Christian Sørum.
George to go again, this time on to Mol. So Brazil testing out both the Norwegian players early. Simon Golding with you for this one, and alongside me, World Tour beach volleyball player Travis Muirherter. We've been looking forward to this one all day, Travis. Have you got a hunch who this might go with?
Well, if anybody is ever ready to bet against Norway, then they would have been proven wrong time and time again these past 4 years. It's never wise to bet against the Norwegians, but this Brazilian team, any team from the Brazilian Federation, as we saw from Renato Lima and Vitor Felipe, they can play some volleyball. Brazil is so deep and so good, and so there's no huge hunch either way, but you always have to lean a little bit in the favor of Norway.
We'll go back to Sørum, testing him out short, Andre, and Andre gets the throwdown block. He's channeling his inner Anders Mol at the start of this match.
And everyone always talks about Anders Mol at the net as one of the best blockers in the world, as they should, because he has been voted by his peers twice on multiple occasions as the best blocker. But Andre, he's won a world championship. He is huge at the net, as you can see from that hang time.
4-1 start for the number 5 seeds, and it was nearly 5-1, but Sørum works it off the hands. Now, Travis, we've got to talk about it, the elephant in the room, as it were, but clearly something has affected Sørum in the last few weeks. They pulled out of Jomala, which is where George and Andre got a walkover when Norway went home, and he still doesn't look like he's moving particularly well.
And you could see in Ostrava, in that final in the Czech Republic, he wasn't quite himself. Now, it is such a credit to Norway, such a testament to how good they are, that they could still win a gold medal even without a fully healthy Christian Sørum. But they have looked very strong this entire week. Now, Christian might not be 100% himself, but it's very rare that every beach volleyball player is 100%. Now, Brazil, they are one of the few teams who can fully capitalize on a slightly weakened Norwegian team.
George will be looking to do that. First end switch in this race to 21 in the opening set. 5-2 to Brazil. That very quickly moves to 5-3. What I was most impressed about in the quarter-final last night, when Mol and Sørum played against Alisson and Guto of Brazil, was when the chips were down, when the stakes were high, Mol stepped up and tried to do everything he could to win points for his teammate.
There's no deficit that is ever too great for this Norwegian team.
They fight for everything. They're fighting for this one. But good movement from George. Can he come up with a canny shot? No, he can't. Bites off more than was available, and Norway are in the match.
And this is exactly why there's no deficit that's ever too great. You can see the hustle, the athleticism from Anders Mol. He is so intimidating at the net. He's going to force you to try to hit perfect shots. And when you try to be too perfect, errors like that can happen. As rare as they are, even George Wanderley will get a little intimidated by Anders Mol at the net.
A little bit of breeze just ruffling the shirt of Anders Mol as he hit that. Just took the ball onto the net tape. Mol gets the block and gets the play on, but Andre has done Sørum again, and Andre has gone off at a rate of knots, adding to the 32 blocks that he came into this match with.
And now Brazil has scored 6 points. 50% of those have come on Andre blocks, and if you're Brazil, that is such a good sign, because that's going to change up what Christian Sørum is going to try to do on the offensive end.
35 blocks for the tournament. He's up there with Anna Patricia in the women's side of the draw. Well, he was always going to have to do something to get past the block, and he shoots it line to beat George.
And if you're Norway, the fact that you're only down 1 point with Andre already collecting 3 blocks, almost collecting a 4th, is a good sign, because that's as bad as Norway will side out, giving 3 blocks early in a set. So if you're Norway, you're only down 1. That's actually a tremendous sign.
Andre is their service target, and he's just pushed that one a little wide on the swing. He has a slightly unconventional action. He sometimes gets a bit of ahead of himself, Travis, does Andre.
A bit. He has an untraditional swing. You can see a big pike on all of his swings and even his line shots as well. It's a little different, but whatever works. And his blocking is working. Make it 4 blocks in 13 points for Andre.
That's a crazy start at the net for Andre. Another monster block. They're going to wear out that piece of music if they're not careful. And the monster block graphic, and look at that. But what we know is that the Volley Vikings adapt. They change, they do what they have to do, and they fight. But they know they've got a fight on their hands here this time. Nice work from Sørum over the block and away. And with Andre playing so well, George now has to come to the party if they want to get this job done, Travis.
Well, what Andre's done such a good job of is keeping George out of the party. George hasn't had to do a whole lot for them to earn points, and so Andre is doing his job at the net, and that's going to free up George for the rest of this first set, perhaps the rest of the match, to be completely free in defense.
Second end switch. It feels like Brazil are dominating the early stages of this match. It's 7-all. Oh my goodness. And there you go. There is the proper roof block from Anders Mol for the first time in this match, and he's not happy about the Brazilian handling.
And you could hear the crowd even groaning as that one went up. And as they say in sports, one of the worst sayings in sports, the ball don't lie. Anders Mol putting that one down. He wanted a double, doesn't need any help from the ref, as you can see. Just an enormous press from the beach volley Viking. And when he gets active at the net, watch out, because he can go on a serious run as a blocker.
And he served like a demon last night as well in the quarterfinals. That one sailing long, but definitely Norway stating their intentions now. Andre with the serve, rushes to the net, trying to find another block on Sørum, who just chips that back to the line. Good vision from him.
And you mentioned the word adapting. No team in the world is better at adapting than Norway, because the entire world has had to adapt to them. They've won so much that every team in the world has just been focusing for 3 straight years. How do we beat Norway? And Norway has had to adapt in response, so they do it all the time.
Yeah, I like that way of looking at things. You've had an X on your back for the last 4 seasons, and so you have to learn how to play under that pressure. But what an incredible team, and the way that they go about their work as well. We heard the interview yesterday after their quarter-final victory. Just a great group of guys. The fans love them.
And you can see what a great group of guys they are. You can see all the Norwegian fans right there, all those Norway flags. And we were talking off air before, Norway, beach volleyball, it's not what you would expect when this sport first became huge around the world, but this is one of the most dominant teams in history, and they're just so humble throughout. Just the nicest guys, the greatest sportsmen, the greatest ambassadors for this sport. There's a reason that fans travel all around the globe to watch Anders and Christian play volleyball.
Mol back at the line, missed his last serve, but he's going to go for it again. They're siding out well enough now to be able to crunch a few jump serves. And they're going back to George now, trying to push George a bit here. They know that Andre will want to keep him off the net and away from Mol's hands, and that's why George now has to start playing.
And we mentioned adapting. You pulling that set so far off the net is one of the ways that the world has adapted to Norway and to Russia and to Germany and all of these federations that are having enormous blockers at the net. When you set that ball within 2 feet of the net, they are going to get up and grab it, as we've seen Anders do multiple times, as we've seen Andre do multiple times. When you pull it off the net, you create some extra alleys for you to hit. You create a little bit more space. You make the blocker a tool at the net. You can use it, you can hit them off their hands just as George did right there. And that is one of the many adaptations we've seen teams adjust to beat this Norwegian team.
There's the head-to-head between our two defenders. Sørum knows that he's had to adapt to what he's doing at the moment, whatever it is that's slowing him down. Certainly not slowing down enough to not make a semi-final at the World Championships, but it's a concern. Wouldn't be surprised if he can bump a few on the tape to see Mol going with a few option balls here. No, still can't get the pass high enough, but not a problem. This time shoots on the angle, and George once again left wanting in defence.
And even not a fully healthy Christian Sørum, he's still one of the greatest passers in the world. He still sees the court so well. He doesn't need 100% heat on every swing. He can pass well and have that vision to put that nice cut shot in the open space.
Good touch. He's on this one. It's got to come, though. Hit the blocker's hand. Oh, incredible play. Mol gets a second go, and this time buries it.
That is just vintage Anders Mol hitting a backhanded karate chop that almost goes down, getting a free ball in transition, and then Anders just doing what Anders does best, bringing so much heat on the swing with barely any approach. Just a phenomenal play by Anders Mol.
Very quickly realised he only had George to beat at the net, who got stranded. Andre goes long. That is an element to his game that will pop up now and again under pressure. He will miss a few spikes here and there. And all that great work that he's done at the net has been undone by Brazilian errors. Norway lead 14-10, and Brazil call a timeout.
And what is so alarming about this 14-10 lead by Norway is that at 7-7, as you mentioned, Andre had already had 4 blocks. It felt like Brazil was dominating, and yet the score was tied. That's how good Norway is, that it can feel like they are just so far behind, but they're always right there. In yesterday's quarterfinal against Alisson and Guto, they went down 15-10. And then Anders just did what Anders does best at the net. When he gets active at the net, it changes everything. I would love to see a stat to see if teams error more playing against Norway than they do against any other team. And that's not other teams playing poorly. That's Anders and Christian forcing them to be so uncomfortable and to try to hit swings that they might not have, as we've seen Andre hit a couple swings a little bit too long, trying to be too perfect. And now here Norway is, after a very slow start, they're up 4 in this first set.
Well, we wax lyrical about this team time and time again, but they are a wonderful watch. They've set the level very high again after a slightly shaky start to this match, but recovered their composure quickly, and now the onus is on Brazil to make things happen.
And that's a scary spot to be if you are Brazil, to make things happen against Norway. But the good news is that George Wanderley packs a big jump serve and very good defense.
Good throw down again from Andre, but Mol knew it was coming. Brilliant awareness from Anders Mol to cover Christian Sørum.
And plays like that are so frustrating. If you're Andre, he times this so well, throws this straight down, and then Anders Mol with a play that you cannot teach. And then to have the awareness to step close, big swing around the pulling block, it's just Anders. He's the best in the world for a reason, and that play is, you can see it on full display.
Pressure's on the team in green now. Andre goes hard, so 2 in a row that he's gone high and off the hands of Anders Mol. So we may see a change up here from the Volley Vikings. They might go back to George.
And if you're Anders, you're very close. Those are 2 swings in a row he's gotten his hands on. He seems to have a good read on Andre, but Andre doing a good job keeping it high enough off the hands.
Oh, good movement from Sørum, and he knew that George was there and hovering, and he couldn't shoot it, so hammers it instead.
And I love the late decision. This isn't a full swing. This is what American coach Jordan Chang calls a dart. He just sees the open space, feels George moving in, and just barely beats him to the spot. And again, that is the vision of Christian Sørum, one of the most underrated skills in beach volleyball, seeing what you have on the court and hitting the right spot.
Yeah, I've got to say thanks to Jordan. Dart is one of my favourite new words to describe getting the ball down like that. Not so much a dart as a thunderbolt from Andre.
And he's settling into a rhythm. He hit a couple out, and with Anders Mol at the net, that can be a scary place to be when you get in a little bit of a rut. But Andre, he's settling in. He's staying physical, staying aggressive.
George with the serve. Still no meaningful defensive touches for George Wanderlei, and they're giving him the runaround at the moment.
Yeah, Sørum is doing an excellent job of moving his shots around. We've seen the high lines, we've seen the low lines, we've seen the hard angle swings. He has every shot in the bag. He's keeping George guessing.
Little pace taken off that, bit more accuracy. And there we go, the change up to George serves the function, and yet again Anders Mol wants to chat with our first official about the handling.
And this is just a credit. This big jump serve from Anders Mol gets them a little bit out of system, forcing what could have been a double on the set, but no double needed again. Both times they've argued didn't really matter. The ball ended up in their favor anyway.
Goes big on this one again. George gets hit. And if he's got the room, if he's got the space, let's not forget how capable he is as an attacker.
He is an exceptional attacker, and that's why most teams, they will keep the ball on Andre and only throw a handful of serves George's way when they feel he might be a little bit out of rhythm, catch him by surprise, and then go right back to Andre.
Sørum's best pass, and the break was good, but as they say, if in a fiddle, hit the middle, and it's worked for Sørum.
Cliches are cliches for a reason, Simon, and that is exactly why that space is always just so difficult to defend. And Christian did a great job of hitting enough pace on it where they couldn't communicate for whose ball that was.
Back to Andre. Oh, he's got him. He's got him. It was only a matter of time. A Mol monster blocks the living daylights out of Andre.
And there's no way for Andre to see this move. Watch how far outside of Mol's body he goes. He's lined up in the line, and he can reach so far into the angle.
Scary good from the volley Viking at the net. He's got him again. Brazil replay. Nice touch from Sørum. If it's not one, it's the other. Goodness me, it's relentless, and that's the work rate that we heard Anders Mol refer to after last night's quarter-final. If anyone wants to beat them, he said, they've got to work harder than us.
And there are few teams, if any, in the world who have been working harder than the beach volley Vikings these past 4 years. The run that they've been on to sustain their success that they have had for these past 4 years is so difficult, because every team in the world, as we mentioned earlier, they have had the target on Norway's back for 4 straight years. And for 4 straight years, no one has had an answer. For a while, everyone was serving Christian Sørum, and after 3 straight years of it, they said, well, that's not working. Let's try serving Anders. It seemed as if the entire world was in a group chat and said, okay, we're all going to serve Anders. It worked for about 2 tournaments, and then by the time the Olympic Games rolled around, it was a gold medal. And now, currently, the world is back to having 0 answers for how to beat this Norwegian team.
Can't take your eyes off this encounter and this performance by the Volley Vikings. And I have to be honest, I got totally caught up in the game there and didn't look at the scoreboard once. First set's over. Volley Vikings lead by 1.
And the fact that they were able to win 21-14 with 4 blocks from Andre is remarkable.
Set 2 underway. Norway have taken a massive step towards their first World Championship final. And they're going to take steps time and time again with Mol in this kind of form. He is back to his quite destructive best.
Watching Anders Mol block is like watching Picasso paint. What he is doing, it is just, it's inexplicable. It's amazing. You just have to watch it. It's breathtaking, just what he can do at the net.
Stumble after the pass from Andre, so took his time to get back out to the hitter's box. And there we go. As this Norwegian team relax, as Mol puts the pressure on Brazil, all of that pressure releases from Sørum.
And even Christian Sørum, not fully healthy, as we talked about. They had to forfeit out of Elite 16 in Jurmala, and he can still get it done. Even a 90% and 80% Christian Sørum is still one of the best defenders on the planet.
All Norway at the moment. Oh my goodness me. Well, I saw Ricardo Santos bounce a ball like that in Stad a few years ago, and he stuck it right out of the arena. This wasn't far away.
Now, as much as we will laud the talent and the efforts of Norway, Andre and George are here for a reason.
Good save, lovely set. Real attention to detail again from Norway. Moll putting it on a plate under pressure for Sørum.
And that set from Anders. Wow, that is so difficult to take all that spin going one way, move his platform in the opposite direction to put up Sørum in the right spot he needed to put that line shot down.
Oh, it was good work. It was a great serve on Andre, but lovely footwork from the big Brazilian, and then gets himself to the net, puts it away in style. Well, Christian Sørum is not hiding out there. He is happy to take his responsibility when it's required.
He is. There may be no player in the world these past 4 years who has received more serves than Christian Sørum. He is fantastic under pressure. It doesn't matter if he gets in a little bit of a rut here and there. He knows he has their defense to back him up, but offensively, he's playing so consistent.
Long approach. Andre knew the block was there and good, and couldn't get it away. Sørum then just comes back and strokes it home for the point. And they're smiling now, the Volley Vikings. Great Australian phrase. They're having fun and getting the job done.
And winning, as one of my favorite phrases goes, is very fun. And no one wins more than Norway. No one wins more than Anders Moll and Christian Sørum. And this is a tough spot to be in if you're Brazil. You do not want to get in a hole against this Norwegian team because it's a tough one to dig yourself out of.
Side out required from Brazil. That's more like it. Good shot from Andre. But surely a change up from the service line is required, Travis, because they're having no joy at the moment with their current tactic.
At some point, you do have to throw a ball or two at Anders just to test him out, but he has been playing at such a high level of this World Championship. But as you mentioned, serving Christian Sørum right now is not working, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Anders get a few balls here and there sent his way.
Well, right on cue, commentator's curse, and Sørum puts one out of play. I wouldn't mind seeing some stats on that either, Travis. Every time a commentator opens their mouth and the player buries it in the net or sticks it out, very next ball. Brazil still in the hunt. Back to steady, good touch. Oh, and a great joust at the net. But no. Anders Moll, he's not giving anything up today.
This cover off of this joust is crazy athletic. He just has enough time to slap it up to Sørum, and he's facing the wrong direction and uses his wrist to put it into a line. A lot of these skills, a lot of these plays that Norway makes, they're unteachable. You just figure it out through reps and reps and reps, and Norway has all of the skills in the book.
Back to George, it's a tight one. Every time that ball is in Anders Moll's zone, it seems that George runs out of ideas.
Any player in the world, if this set is within 2 feet of the net, it is good night to the swing. As Anders Moll, the leading blocker in the world, he's going to get up there, he's going to get in your face, and his hands are so disciplined and strong that when it hits them, he is so very rarely tooled and sent out of bounds.
Oh, wow. Oh, dear. I mean, serious heat there from Brazil. They're going to ask for a challenge on this ball. That's going to be off the block or in or out. They're going to have a look at. I don't know if you just saw that, Travis. Christian Sørum stretching his hip out.
I'm trying to figure out if they're trying to challenge for a touch off Anders Moll's hands or a touch on the net. But again, you could see that this set drifts a little bit too tight. And again, so George had to swing a little bit extra hard. Yeah, and as you mentioned, there was some heat on this ball here, and you can see the pinky touch from Anders Mol.
There is a touch.
Here we go. Maybe it isn't mission impossible for Brazil.
Challenge successful. Point for
Great
Brazil.
challenge, and they retain it, and they keep the point. Oh, and then they get the ace. That ball dropped like a stone.
I would love to see the rear view of this. This is the one I wanted. Watch that thing just drop. It took the elevator straight from the 4th floor to the lobby in a hurry.
She knows. Well, unfortunately, took the elevator before it went over the net on that occasion, but a couple of points there that will give Brazil a little bit of encouragement.
Big ones, huge points. That ace serve from George, that ball is borderline unpassable, and those are the kinds of serves that you need. You need to keep this Norwegian team out of system. Ace is obviously preferable, but getting them out of system is the only way you seem to be getting points from Sørum at the moment.
No, George is not going to put that on the sand. Just too easy, and a really simple point for Norway to take all the momentum away again, and George is upset with himself.
And you can see the difference in the body language between those two. You can see Anders and Christian, they're laughing, they're hugging, they're having fun, and George is just berating himself right now for that shot.
Well, it comes back with a bit of inventiveness.
And now let's have a check. Who cheers for Norway?
This is precision defined. George going high and up and over the block of Anders Mol, tagging the outside of the line. That is perfection.
Oh, wonderful stuff. No, just long. Thought he managed to tag Andre on the way there, but a couple of quick points here for Brazil, and they keep some sort of momentum here in set 2.
They're doing a great job of keeping Norway from going on a run, and you can see Norway challenging whether this swing was in or out. Christian Sørum thinking that they tagged the line on the way out.
Not a bad idea, just to stop the game for a moment anyway. A couple of little runs of points there that will give Brazil encouragement, and I don't think Norway really thought that was in. The sand splash made it look a little closer than it was, but it is out. So Norway lose the challenge, Brazil gain the point, and that tiny enclave of Brazilian fans that, well, it's rare to see a Brazilian group of fans out shouted in a beach volleyball stadium, but that's what's happening right now. Overwhelming support for the Volley Vikings. Another chance, hit the block, so it's going to be a free ball. Mol takes over, and then tries to hit a very accurate shot to the line, and he's missed, and this set suddenly feels very different.
It is. This is the exact opposite direction that we had in the first set when Brazil jumped all over Norway for a 7-4 lead, and now Norway came out hot 5-2 start, and they've made 2 errors in a row, and we're all tied up again with Brazil taking the momentum.
Just.
Sørum. Come on, clap your hands, Roma! Go, 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 go!
Got to go for them. But they start to mount up as the game goes on. Another brutal contest down there on centre court. Oh, that's clever from Andre.
Smart touch for
And this is as risky of a shot as you can ask for in beach volleyball, just slivering that one around the line of Anders Mol, barely getting over the net. What a shot by Andre.
For the serve of Brazil, and it's
well, it's an absolute momentum killer when you stick the ball in the net. I don't know what the Portuguese is for trudging, but our 2 Brazilian players are trudging back to the side-out zone.
They are, and from the body language between Norway and Brazil, you would think that this would be a 13-8 or a 12-9 technical timeout, not just a 10-11. This match is very close, but it feels as if Norway is just controlling every single step of this match so far. It feels like they are entirely in control. And as we saw in our earlier semifinal between Brazil and the United States, it seems as if Norway is winning all of these long rallies, all of the grinding points that Renato Lima and Vitor Felipe did against the United States. And those, they crush your spirit when you work so hard in these 20, 25-second rallies that Norway just continues to win over and over and over again. And as you mentioned, Anders Moll said, if you're going to beat us, you need to work hard to beat us. And right now, Norway's just outworking Brazil in those long rallies.
Seen a couple of shots of Marigasha, the Brazilian FIVB president, in the crowd watching on. Here for a number of meetings in Rome about the future of this fantastic sport. And a fantastic kill from Andre keeps the scoreboard ticking over. Now, is it going to be enough for Brazil to keep this side-out rhythm and ask some questions towards the end of the set, or are Norway just too used to things like that?
Well, Norway is very accustomed to the ebbs and flows of a beach volleyball match. And really, at this point, it's up to if George Wanderley can straighten up his offense a little bit, and if Andre can get his block back into the game. As you can see, Anders using that option to sliver just under the block of Andre.
Not seen a huge amount of option balls being hit. That second ball that he's up on the net take, but it's always there, always in the back of the blocker's mind anyway. Just a glance off the net tape. Lovely pass from George. And then comes in off of the wing to take that closer to the middle, and it's opened up a nice little route to the sand.
And that's the George Wanderley we have come to know so well this year. He has been one of the most consistent offensive players. He just seemed very uncomfortable tonight in the semifinal.
Yeah, the throw down from Andre. That's more like the team that won the challenge event in Itapema. George and Andre back in the match.
And it's been a while since Andre's had a block. He had that hot start. He had 4 blocks in the first 13 points, and then he throws that one down in Brazil, retaking the lead and retaking the momentum.
And that is a huge miss from George.
And this is one of the most uncharacteristically uncrisp offensive performances I've seen from George this year, which is such a testament to how good he is. He's not playing his best volleyball, and they're tied 13-13 in the semifinals of the World Championship.
Again, long way off the tape, allows him to bury it. That's more like it. He's basically Adrian Carambula's twin brother. I mean, when you watch him out there on court, when he's strutting around and loving his work, he is a real contender.
He is the swagger and the confidence of George Wanderley, and he has reason. He backs that up all year long. They have performed so well. They're currently #1 in the world rankings for a reason, and a large reason that is because of George Wanderley.
Norway save it again as the rocky music blares around this incredible centre court stadium. And that just about sums it up. It's blow for blow at the moment between these two fantastic teams. You like a bit of Rocky, Travis?
Oh, just cannot get enough of Rocky.
He's going to get the knockout blow tonight, though. That's the big question. There's one of them. It's another monster block from Anders Moll.
And that might not be a knockout punch, but that is enough to floor anyone. My goodness gracious. You know it is an effective block when the ball beats the player to the sand. Just a huge block, and it looks like we have a challenge. Brazil seeking a net touch on Anders. And what's remarkable about Anders Moll is that it isn't even his hands or his elbows that are touching the net. A lot of times it's his feet. That's how high this kid jumps.
Don't know if this is a genuine look or whether Brazil just sense another mini movement. There we go, and it is the thighs and the bottom part of the shorts that touch the net. That's a very cool spot from George Wanderley.
And that is just ridiculous. Anders Moll is hitting the net with his thighs. He jumps so high and was so far over the net, but a great challenge by Brazil.
Every single point now feels critical.
And this is a huge side out from Christian Sørum, and losing that challenge is a huge momentum killer if you're Norway. You get an enormous block from Anders Moll taken away by your thigh hitting the net.
Runs the back set, he's done it again. Anders Moll, this time, no net touch.
No challenge on this one as Anders Moll, he's so smart. His volleyball IQ is off the charts. He knows exactly how to time his block, where to throw his hands. He just gets better and better and better as the match goes on.
It's tight again. Oh, wow. Maneuvers it past the block, and that's a really super hit.
That is a bold swing from George Wanderley and a fine one. You can see just how close Anders was to dropping his hands in the line, and George beats him to the spot. Just a fantastic swing.
And we're seeing 4 players now ticking over at the top of their game. The mechanics of everything they are doing is just sensational.
And all 4 of these players, they've played on big stages before, but that doesn't mean that this World Championship stage isn't going to make you a little nervous, and it seems that all the nerves are gone, and this is world-class beach volleyball.
17-16 Norway. And one drifts wide, an uncharacteristic error from the Volley Vikings. Point for point at the moment. Side out required from Norway. Sørum with good judgment to let that one go. And we switch with Norway 18-17 up, 3 points away from their first World Championship final.
And we see those 2 missed serves in a row, but with how well everyone is siding out, both teams needed to ramp up the service pressure a little bit. So the risk-reward ratio of the serving, it's okay to miss a couple as long as you are serving tough, keeping them out of system.
Good touch. Oh, wow. I mean, you'd like to say it's lucky, but they just do it time and time again. The ball goes right back in to Moll's flight path.
Maybe if it happens once, it's lucky. Maybe if it happens twice, it might be a little lucky. But if it happens over the course of 4 years, you'll see Anders make plays like this once, twice, 3 times a match. It is just how good he is at beach volleyball. And Christian Sørum, got to give him credit for making a great dig, putting up Anders in a spot where he can just sort of out-athlete Andre at the net. And that is no easy feat either, as Andre, you can see how high they are playing. They're playing that at the top of the antenna.
That is very, very high indeed. And next time you're in a gym, take a look up at a basketball ring and then just look up a little bit further. That's where these guys are operating off sand. Unbelievable. Timeout called then by the team in green. Brazil, I'm afraid, back into trudging mode here. Norway have stolen a bit of a march, and now this feels like their match to lose. A must. He's not sided out. Oh, this is unbelievable stuff. Sørum left into block. He decides to break and makes a brilliant overhand pokey dig. But Andre stays sharp and stays focused, and Brazil still in the set.
And that is the rally of the match so far. And we've seen Norway win almost every single one of these rallies so far, and that's why they were able to win the first set so comfortably. That's why they're up big in this second set. And finally, Brazil able to steal one from Norway, a long rally, a big block from Andre.
They need a point on their own serve, though. This to go to match point. And Sørum works it off the hands and down, and George was so close to that one.
And Norwegian fans, they can breathe, they can exhale a little bit. I'm sure everyone was holding their breath just a touch as it just ends up in that tweener ground between Andre the blocker turning around to get it, and between George, it was just a little bit out of reach of both.
2 match points. Moll hits a heavy, deep jump serve onto George. George to stay in the match, goes rainbow. Pokey defense again from Sørum. No. Brazil get to swing to stay in, but Anders Moll shuts the door. It is a quite fabulous victory under the most severe of pressure, and the Volley Vikings have made their first World Championship final with a 2-0 victory over George and Andre from Brazil.